games behind Philadelphia in the NFC East, and the Seahawks trying to break a 5-game losing streak. Efren Herrera hits it deep. Down to Newsome at the 2-yard line. The rookie at the 10, 15, 20, into the open at the 30, and all the way to the 38-yard line. Tackle made by Steve Rabel, number 83. First down, Dallas. Cowboys come on the field with Danny White, the quarterback, in the transition year. Roger Staubach, now a reporter. Tony Dorsett, the great runner, and the blocky Robert Newhouse with him in the backfield. Great setter, outside receivers, Tony Hill of Stanford, Drew Pearson from Tulsa, Billy Joe Dupree, the tight end, Donovan Scott with Fitzgerald in the middle, Rafferty and Cooper, the 5 in front of Danny White. First down at the Cowboy 38-yard line. That's Butch Johnson, 86, in motion as he gets the start, and Tony Dorsett on a sweep. And he's pinned in and ridden out of bounds by 22 Dave Brown, the veteran from the University of Michigan, having his best year in the NFL. Let's check that Seahawk defense, and the pressure will be on them. Jacob Green, despite a bad knee, was supposed to start. We understand now Terry Dion is playing that left-end spot. Robert Hardy, Manu Tuiasosopo, the tackles, Bill Cook for the injured Bill Gregory. Jackson having an outstanding year, 55 from Washington, Terry Beeson in the middle, and Keith Butler. And the back four for the Seahawks, and there's some substitutes there as well. Justin and Webster both hurt at the left corner. Will Lewis was to a start. We see Justin is in there at the left corner with Simpson out with an injury. Vic Minor replacing him, John Harris and Dave Brown. Dorsett on the second carry, and he is short of the initial line of scrimmage. Will bring up third down and 11 as Bill Cook from the University of Massachusetts made the tackle. Actually, back at the 36, they spotted where it'll be second down and closer to 12. Third and 12.
Take one of the difficult things that Tom Landry and his staff have had to face this week. It's very difficult to get yourself ready for a team that is 4-8, that's lost 5 games in a row. And Dallas looks a little lethargic here in the early going. They can't afford to do that.
Out of the shotgun for the first time. Cook almost snapped offside for Seattle. Preston Pearson, 26, shifting back with White. He's their excellent pass receiver. Plenty of time, and it's to Drew Pearson, short of the first down at the 43-yard line. And there's a man playing on this holiday with a heavy heart. Drew Pearson, his father passed away in New Jersey last Sunday, was home, flew back for practice yesterday, will play today, and return to New Jersey for the funeral tomorrow. The all-time pass receiver for the Dallas Cowboys, Drew Pearson. Fourth down and 5. Will Lewis, who returned upon 75 yards for a touchdown against Denver last Sunday, a Seattle record. Danny White, good punting year for Dallas. He drives it deep. Lewis, and he is hit immediately, but breaks out of the tackle. Trying to get outside, cannot, and is down at the 16-yard line. Guy Brown, 59, had a shot at it, but couldn't bring him down, and it is a first down, Seattle at the 16 after a 46-yard punt and a 7-yard return. First down, Seattle's initial possession. Zorn, the left-hander. Quick out, complete to Largent at the 22, and Largent has a Seattle first down at the 27. Steve Largent, what a receiver he is. That's his 47th catch of the year. Defensively for the Dallas Cowboys, Too Tall Jones really has had 3 outstanding games back-to-back. Larry Cole, the touchdown against Washington last week. Randy White, the best of the Cowboy defenders, and Harvey Martin, great pass rusher. Hegman, Brunig, and Lewis, the linebackers. And we'll give you that deep 4 after this play. First down. From the 28, it's Jodat. He hits out to the 30-yard line, short yardage. Now to complete the lineups for you then, the defensive backfield for Tom Landry's Dallas Cowboys. Benny Barnes for Steve Wilson at the left corner. Aaron Mitchell in his second year. On the right side, Charlie Waters, after out as an All-Pro 2 years ago, out last year with a knee injury, back and playing well. And Dennis Thurman, the second leading tackler on that defense, out of USC, a 2-time All-American.
They're very happy to see Benny Barnes back in there. Gives them some real stability on that left corner, Dick.
As Merlin pointed out, the Cowboys have been hit by the big play. The quick out, complete to Steve Rabel, and he's out of bounds at the 41-yard line. Another Seattle first down. That's twice they've worked the out pattern against Aaron Mitchell on the right side. That game good for 11 yards.
The Cowboys capable of giving you intimidating pressure, but Zorn is the kind of quarterback who can scramble around, find some time. He got his time there, put it right on the money. That's a timing pattern to Rabel, who's playing with an injured knee himself. Looked pretty good on that play.
Indeed, from Georgia Tech. He's the fastest of the Seattle offensive players. From the 41, the toss is to Dornick, and he is nailed by Randy White. I know it's not a very complimentary nickname, but I think Charlie Waters, when he tagged White as Manster, that's one of the all-time great nicknames. Half man, half monster. Randy White is a sensational defensive player.
Well, for many years, the Cowboys got that kind of play from Bob Lilly, and now they're getting it from Randy White, using his incredible speed for a down lineman just to blow out of there, split the seam, and got to the ball carrier before he had a chance to do anything. A very big play.
3-yard loss, 2nd and 13. Lawrence McCutcheon, the all-time rusher of the Los Angeles Rams, now a member of Seattle's Seahawks, wearing number 30. He's in the backfield, and he's over the middle on the pattern. Incomplete to Jodan. McCutcheon was wide open, going to the opposite side. 3rd and 13. That's Herman Weaver. 13. And you can bet those Cowboys will be coming hard at Zorn on this pass situation. Complete to Rabel, close to a first down at the Dallas 49.
He's short.
It will depend where they spot the ball.
No, I think they're gonna clip him a little short.
He is in Dallas territory, about a half-yard shy of the first down. Here it is again.
We've talked about the pressure that the Dallas Cowboys can put on you. You see Harvey Martin, 79, coming from the outside. A zipper thrown to Rabel. I think he figured he could trying to lay that ball back on his shoulder. They're going to measure it. I'm afraid it's not enough.
And it's not enough, as you can see. 4th down, and knowing Jack Patera, who played linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys in their formative years, their first 2 years under Tom Landry, and you know he'll go for it, or will he? Here comes Weaver, but that does not necessarily mean they're going to punt.
This is an interesting team, these Seahawks. You never know what they're going to do. Herman Weaver, you never know what he's going to do anyway. So,
old Thunderfoot from the University of Tennessee. James Jones has had an outstanding year, rookie year, 10.8 average on punts. He's at the 10.
Weaver's had a couple blocked this year. I think Dallas may come after him sometime today.
That's an upset in itself. He kicked it. And Jones at the 10-yard line. Hit at the 15. Good coverage by Seattle downfield. Number 82, Mark Bell. A 40-yard kick, a 5-yard return. Jim Zorn saying, keep some of that white meat red. Texas Stadium, the same. Some of the folks not using their tickets today, home watching on television, but a sellout. Nevertheless, 65,000. No score. Second possession for Dallas. They start from their 15-yard line. The give to Dorsett. And he slants out to the 19-yard line where it'll be 2nd down and 6. Dallas has been the most successful of NFC teams against the American Conference. They are 23-9 lifetime. This year, the pattern that has been established the last couple of seasons, the AFC teams have been superior. 23-9 is the Dallas record, but AFC is 25-11. Against the NFC so far this season, but Dallas is the one team that has upset that trend. Newhouse short of the first down as he's smothered in a Seahawk blue out at about the 23-yard line. Tuiasa Sopo, 74, led the charge. It's 3rd and 2.
Newhouse, a very difficult back to get your hands around and on. Low center of gravity, powerful legs, carrying that ball in the combat zone with both arms. But look how many blue shirts are swarming over the top of it. Early going here, Dick. The Seattle Seahawks much more inspired for this game than are the Dallas Cowboys.
Dallas and Seattle, of course, both playing Sunday, a short week. To ask you what that does to a team. This is 3rd and 2. Jay Saldy, second tight end, is in the game, and he's in motion again. Newhouse, first down as he spins out to the 30-yard line. Seattle first down.
Very difficult, as we said, to tackle it's Robert Newhouse, number 44. That was Beeson being faked to the inside. Newhouse just twisting his body. Not only has great strength, but has the ability to spin out of the grasp of tacklers. I can remember trying to tackle him. He is really hard to get a hold of and get down.
Only 5'10", and he seems to be all thighs. In fact, he has to buy extra-sized pants just to fit his legs in them. White complete to Dupree, and he's bumped out of bounds at the 36-yard line. A gain of nearly 5. Keith Simpson, 42, the safety man for Seattle with the tackle.
As we said, Seattle really beset with injuries, and that'll do several things to them. There are people who are playing hurt today who will have some physical problems in coverage, physical problems perhaps in handling some of their responsibilities. It also will hurt them on special teams, Dick, because that means that there are certain players who are playing all the way on offense or on defense and then having to play special teams as well.
Danny White. 2-2 now. Dorsett, not much there as he's out to the 38-yard line, but you saw how quick he is in that first step. All the great backs, it just seems they're flying by the time they take the second step.
Coaches talk about quick feet, Dick. They talk about the way the offensive lineman can move those feet. Those are the feet of Pat Donovan. You see him getting position for the block right there. You see the work of the legs and the feet, maintaining control. That's Bill Cook, 67. Rolled him over. Maybe used his hands a little bit there.
Not just happy hands.
You can't just use your feet these days.
Donovan regarded as the best offensive lineman of the Cowboys. He's out of Stanford where he played as a defensive tackle. 3rd and 3. Complete to Hill. And he's in Seattle territory at the 49-yard line. John Harris stopped him.
Action picking up a little bit for the Dallas Cowboys. Down at field level. Hill catching that pass. A zipper from Danny White. Kerry Justin, number 26, looked like he just stumbled a bit there. He's playing on a bad leg. And had they not gotten instant support from the inside, Hill might have sprinted down the sideline with a much bigger gain. John Harris, 44, the man that came over and pinned him. Landry talking to his coaches upstairs. He's sending the plays in with his tight ends from the sideline.
First time Dallas has been in Seattle territory. No score in this one. We're 7 minutes remaining in the first quarter. White going for it all. Butch Johnson is open. He had beaten Justin by 5 yards. And again, Kerry Justin, the defender, number 26, playing on a very sore knee, and White a little too strong.
White had plenty of time to throw that football, and we've seen it many times during the year. You cannot give a quarterback as much time as White had and expect to have those receivers covered downfield. You see the blocking on Dion right there. That's 61. Jim Cooper doing a good job. Dion slipped and fell finally when he got loose. But he'd already given Danny White all he needed to get that ball in the air. A little too strong. Maybe a little of adrenaline pumping when he saw him pop open.
Talk about strong. How about that finish by the Chicago Bears today? White on 2nd and 10 screens it to Dorsett. He's got running room. 40, 35, and down at the 30 with a first down. A 19-yard gain. Joe Norman, 52, secured the tackle. The Bears in overtime beat Detroit 23-17. They scored on the last play of the game to tie it. Won it on a kickoff return overtime.
And we're going to drop this one in your front room. Here comes Tony Dorsett. Strap on your chin straps right now. He's going right in there with you. Dorsett says he likes to play on the cold days. He's got his wishes today. It's a little cold. It's also slick along the sideline. Slight crest of this field, and when it gets wet, it stays slick along the sides. We saw him lose his footing there.
Dorsett trying to become the first man in NFL history to rush for 1,000 yards each of his first 4 years. No one's ever done it. Newhouse down to the Seattle 26. And Dorsett needs only 170 yards to accomplish it, and if he stays healthy, certainly he'll become the first man to do it.
You see Tom Landry giving the play to Billy Joe Dupree. Dupree now will relay that play to Danny White. White will call the signals. Now that could get to be a problem. In some cases where the play has to be run all the way the length of the field, Tom Landry would like to use his offensive lineman to relay the plays, but he doesn't have the depth there that he's been blessed with other years, so he's using his tight ends. He has 3 good ones. He figures that's the best way to go now.
Dupree sold against Cosby. 2nd and 7. Dorsett, big hole. And he's to the Brooks 67, Tuiasosopo 74. The 2 tackles made the stop. But Dallas on an impressive drive. That was the 11th play since the punt.
Dorsett really rounding into shape here in the latter part of the year. It's amazing to me how deep he gets in that I formation. But of course, the secret to the I is letting that runner have the options of seeing those holes open. He really runs the daylight. It's the old Lombardi philosophy personified. Dorsett did a good job with it there.
From the 20-yard line, Dorsett out on a wing. Now he shifts back. For the first down. He's at the 18. Newhouse from the University of Houston, and his kid brother John is a senior running back with the Cougars this year.
Some real hitting going on inside. That's an old Pittsburgh play, or at least we saw it first at Pittsburgh, where they're bringing the wide man in. You see Saldi coming in to trap. He's going to pick up what's left. Actually, Robert Hardy, 75, had taken himself to the inside and out of the play and opened the hole.
First down for the Cowboys at the Seattle 18. White to Hill, touchdown. Tony Hill, 6th touchdown of the season.
Tony Hill's a big play man for these Dallas Cowboys. We said it earlier, you cannot give Danny White this amount of time. He does not have any pressure, fires it up, puts it right on the numbers, and Hill just outstriding the injured Keith Simpson. Keith Simpson, he had no chance on it.
Good throw, and the thrill. Tony Hill with a touchdown. Try for point by Rafael Septien. Charlie Waters to hold. Cowboys have a 7-point lead. Timeout here at Texas Stadium. 3 minutes score of today's game. Septien nails it deep. Cornell Webster 2 yards in his own end zone. At the 10, 15, reverses and down he goes. Webster also playing on a bad knee and not at full speed. There's a lineup Sunday and a big doubleheader here on NBC. That's all Sunday, NBC doubleheader. McCutcheon to Zorn. He's in trouble. Zorn threw to a lineman. Number 61 is not an eligible receiver. Tom Lynch. And that play had trouble written all over it because the Cowboys had it well scouted.
Obviously a flea flicker. McCutcheon throwing back to his quarterback. They wanted to get it deep, but his arm was hit just as he threw it. And Zorn had no time to operate. Flips it out of there. It's going to be called a safety because Zorn was in the end zone when he intentionally grounded that football. Patera out for definition on that play. But the official says no. When you have a penalty called on you,
intentional grounding in the end zone, safety.
The spot of the foul is in the end zone. Automatic safety.
So 2 points for Dallas makes it 9-0, and now the Cowboys will get the ball back on a free kick from the 20.
Well, at least we're being remembered today.
High free kick by Weaver. Jones at his 35, 40, 50, and to the 49-yard line. Let's go back to the safety. There's a gamble when you play that wide-open football. This time the Seahawks lost.
You'll see McCutcheon's arm being bumped right there. The ball flying loose. Zorn has no time now. He threw it in the area of one of his offensive linemen. That's Lynch down there. But the rule is much tougher now. You just can't throw to a jersey. You have to throw in the area of an eligible receiver. And as we said, the spot of the foul was in the end zone. Automatic safety. A very poor free kick by Herman Weaver, by the way. Without the pressure, he should have been able to boost that ball 70 yards. Got down in a hurry, didn't turn it over.
Dallas not only gets the 2 points, but excellent field position at the Seahawk 49. 9-0 Cowboys. Late in the first quarter, deflected, incomplete. Joe Norman was drifting back in pass coverage, did not see that ball that was deflected at the line of scrimmage, and it was right at his feet.
Norman a little upset with himself. You'll have a chance to see it here. Pressure from the inside. White gets the ball bounced. I think it's Robert Hardy. No, Dion, 62. They got his hand up in front of that one. Watch 52 Norman. That ball drops almost in his hands. Had he seen it just a little sooner, they might have gotten the turnover.
Larry Cole, they had a great picture in Dallas. He had his eyes closed when that ball fell in his lap against Washington and took it for a touchdown.
I'm going to comment on him a little later. He's a character.
2nd and 10, Dallas. Dorsett. What a cut. And he's to the 42-yard line. The patience of Dorsett, even though it appeared there wasn't much there, he waited for a little help, made his cut, and turned what appeared to be maybe a 2-yard gain into an 8-yard carry.
Tony Dorsett has great vision and great control, great body control. Watch him anticipate. That's Butler jumping over the top. Dorsett lets him jump, just cuts in underneath him. Tremendous body control and the ability to read those blocks and read the openings. That's what makes him the incredible back that he is.
3rd and 2, Dallas at the 41. Dorsett, first down and more. And he's to the 30-yard line. A flag is down, which calls to mind the fact that Dallas last week against Washington was not penalized once in the entire game. They'll get it this time.
Well, it appears that somebody was giving Tony Dorsett a little extra help at the line of scrimmage. They're going to march it back for a holding penalty. Dorsett ripped off a very solid gain, but they're going to take it back.
So back to the Dallas 49. Here's the announcement.
Holding, number 64, offense.
Pat Haggerty, the referee, with a call. So that'll bring up 3rd down and 12 for Dallas instead of a first down near the Seattle 30.
The offensive linemen have been given a lot of freedom in the use of their hands, but one place where the calls of holding are being made are at the point of attack, where the play is being run. Rafferty was at the point of attack, and he was called for using those hands illegally.
Out of the shotgun. That's Tuyasa Sopo chasing White, and he can't get him. And White goes out of bounds at the 43 of Seattle. 4 yards shy of a first down. Joe Norman came over to make sure that he did not get the first down yardage.
One of the characteristics of Dallas quarterbacks when Roger Staubach was here, and now Danny White has the same thing, the ability to run in a clutch situation, the ability to turn a possible sack into a big play or at least a nice gainer. They did not get the first down, but they saved the sack and picked up some extra yardage.
Tuyasa Sopo putting on the heat. Will Lewis at the 10. White in an apparent punt situation. And he's going to kick it. Aims it toward the far sidelines. And a reasonably good kick. It'll be marked at about the 14-yard line. Oh, a timeout here in Irving, Texas. We have 2. That's the true Texas spirit. And that fella got the whole message, didn't he? The blimp out of El Paso. Well, I hope Cecilia's having a good day, too.
He didn't do a bad job on the peacock there either.
He did. They did a very nice job. 14-yard line. First down, Seattle. They trail Dallas 9-0 late in the first quarter. Zorn to Dornick, and he's out to about the 20 or 18-yard line. Merlin, I think it's appropriate that we mention what a tremendous loss it was for the Seattle Seahawks to lose Sherman Smith in the 3rd game of the season. He meant so much to the offense.
Well, these Hawks have had 2 great running backs disappear from the lineup, Sims last year and now Sherman Smith, and that really hurts a team. When you take 2 quality runners out of their program, they were already shallow in that department anyway. They have really been hurt by that.
Be like Dallas losing both Newhouse and Dorsett. 2nd and 7. Was also in there.
John Dutton acquired from Baltimore right at the deadline for trading last year. Watch him coming out of that 4-point stance. They're expecting run. When you see him in a 4-point stance, he's playing run. Look at the hands of big Bob Newton manhandling him a little bit. But Dutton is a big, strong rusher. He's adjusting now to this Dallas system, and I think he's going to pay some dividends. Actually, they used their #1 and #2 draft choice this year for him, and I think they're starting to feel that he's going to pay off for them.
Teaming up the two inside men. Randy White making that sack. Now Dutton is out. Larry Cole, the better pass rusher, is playing at the defensive left tackle spot. 3rd and 12 for Zorn. And White's got him again, and he fumbles. And unless it's blown dead, it's Dallas's ball. It is blown dead.
That's one place where the ruling of in the grasp of actually helps an offensive team. A quarterback who has the ball shaken loose after he's in control of the defensive man. Whistle is already blown. No fumble.
Zorn, no time. Watch 54 White. As Merlin pointed out, what a combination. White tremendously strong and also very fast. Weaver's kick is short. 43 Jones. 40, 35. He's all the way to the 31-yard line. And Dallas doing a great job of containing the outside rush of Seattle on the special teams.
Obviously, in that case, Seattle very worried about pressure coming in. They did not have
competition. Then some of our nation's strongest men gather for the U.S. Powerlifting Championships, plus the final round action, Legends of Bowling. That's this Saturday on NBC Sports World. Ron Springs, number 20, teaming now with Dorsett. White to Dupree, drops the ball at the 17-yard line. Coverage by Keith Simpson, but it appeared Dupree should have hauled that one in.
Billy got it into his hands, and I'm sure he'll register his own dissatisfaction with that. He might even get a word or two from the coach. That's the one bad thing about being a messenger. You got to go over there and talk to Tom after you drop one like that.
That's right. There's no place to hide in the huddle for Dupree. #1 pick out of Michigan State by the Cowboys in '73.
Danny White now is 5 for 8 passing, 63 yards, and the game's only touchdown. 9-0 Dallas. Seconds remaining for his quarter. Second and 10. Dorsett spins for a couple extra at about the 27-yard line. Maybe the last play of the quarter. 27, 26 seconds. The clock running. Hardy and Cook made that last stop for Seattle.
I think Dorsett is.
There are the numbers in the first quarter, dominated by the Dallas Cowboys. They lead it 9-0 as we open the second period. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. It's a critical down, 3rd, and about 6 for Dallas. Seattle trying to stop the Cowboys, who already have 9 points. Shotgun, and then a handoff to Dorsett. First down, and he's out of bounds at the 11-yard line.
It's an unusual run from that shotgun formation. You don't see them do it very often. They'll have maybe only a half a dozen plays. This one is very effective. Dorsett breaking in front of the onrushing lineman. Gets out to the outside. That's Herb Scott, 68, getting a block on Vic Minor right there. And Dorsett just accelerating up the sideline for a big first down. Now, if they can get this one in, they can put Seattle against the wall, Dick.
Now they make it and more on 3rd and 6. Ball just outside the 11-yard line. Butch Johnson in motion. Dorsett tripped up, ran over his own blocker, number 64 Rafferty, and there was Robert Hardy, 75, to secure the tackle with Keith Butler. Tom Landry, the dean of the NFL coaches, and if he wins today, will pass Don Shula, at least for a few days anyway, as the 3rd winningest coach of all time, behind the legendary George Halas and Curly Lambeau. He and Shula both with 181 at the moment.
He's certainly a powerful man to head this organization, and the consistency. His mark is really consistency. He provides that leadership for this team.
Second down and 12. Wide open. Dupree, touchdown.
When you have a receiver break that open, you got a lot of people looking at each other in the defensive secondary because somebody just flat blew it. Look how far he is away from everyone. He just has to worry about dropping that one. That would be embarrassing. Watch Dupree now in isolation, and there's no one even close. No one even close.
14 yards officially. Here's Septien's try for point. And it's right down the middle. You really can tack on that extra point, or that touchdown and extra point. There's a flag down, by the way, on the extra point try as part of the safety, because it was the safety that 16-0 Dallas. Seahawks sidelines. Took them only a minute and a half to go the 31 yards in 5 plays. 14-yard touchdown pass. Good kick again. It's Webster bringing it out. Fumble! And I believe the Cowboys have it. Yes. It appeared to be Doug Cosby, number 84, who picked up the loose ball, and everything going the Cowboy direction.
Well, it's real disappointment on the other sideline. Get a look at Dickinson coming down there. Gets a good shot right there. Arms across, strips the arms away from the football. Ball rolling free. Picked up there by Dallas. They've got excellent field position, a chance to get their 3rd touchdown on the scoreboard in the first half here.
Now the Cowboys, who started their last drive from the Seattle 31, begin this time from the 19, leading 16-0. Dorsett caught in the backfield. Good defensive play by Terry Dion, a 4th-round draft pick out of Oregon by the Seahawks this year. He's a Seattle area native, playing his pro ball near home.
We talked about the injuries that have beset the Seahawks team. Dion playing in place of Jacob Green, their fine rookie, who has had a good rookie season, and certainly provided the Seahawks with some of the pressure they need on opposing quarterbacks. But he is not in there today, and they're missing him.
Well, they've both starting defensive ends out, and the starting left cornerback, Will Lewis, a rookie, playing out there, and White's been picking on him. White, wide open, springs. Oh, look at him break tackles, and he's down to the 7-yard line, and a first down.
Watching Danny White at ground level, dropping back, finding time, picking out an optional receiver. The man he wanted was not open. Springs did a good job of finding some open territory, and then does an excellent job of breaking tackles. Works his way all the way down inside the 10-yard line. We've still got a Seahawk player down on the field. They're tending to him now.
Terry Dion is the injured Seattle player. A timeout. 13 minutes left in the... Dallas Cowboys leading 16-0. 1st and goal at the Seattle 7-yard line, and now Seattle is down to only 3 healthy defensive linemen. They have only Hardy, Cook, and Tuiasosopo left. The 2 starting ends, Green and Gregory, are out, and now so is Terry Dion. So Terry Reneker, a linebacker, is in. Dorsett. One of those patented skipping moves of Hawkeye from Pittsburgh, and he's to the 3.
That's the kind of play that you really can't make normally on natural turf. You can do it on the artificial turf. The traction is so good that you can make that skip and that stagger step and that quick hop. The game on the artificial turf, Dick, is much quicker than it is on the natural turf, and it's a game that is, well, it's special for the backs who can take advantage of their quick footing and get up through those holes like Dorsett did on that play.
Good news, 62, Dion back in for Seattle. Injury not serious. 2nd and goal at the 3. And White does not like what he sees and calls time. You talk about the quickness of the game on artificial tennis. More NFL action this Sunday. 2nd and goal at the 3. the kickoff becomes a short drive, and the ex-Ohio State star Springs scores.
Same kind of play we saw earlier with the tight end acting as a flanker. You see him coming in to trap, actually, from the outside. A very difficult play to defense against. Excellent blocking on the line of scrimmage. You get an idea of the kind of power there. That's Cooper, 61, blowing his man aside. Springs using his own kind of power to blast into that end zone.
Septien trying to tack on the extra point. And it's plenty good. So the Cowboys.
Rafael Septien, kicker for the Dallas Cowboys. Y quiero desearles a ustedes y su familia un feliz día del turkey.
I guess that's a. Raphael said yesterday he couldn't remember any word for Thanksgiving, so he just fired a turkey at you there, and I guess that all comes out just fine.
I guess that'll do.
Thank you, Raphael. Both kickers natives of Mexico. He's from Mexico City, and
Efren Herrera from Guadalajara. Webster at the 3 gets another chance. 15, 20, and tackled out of the 25-yard line. Kurt Peterson made the stop on the special teams for Dallas.
We ought to point out, Dick, that this Seattle team is not only injured, they're tired. They've had 3 games in 11 days. They played a Monday night game and a Sunday game, and then they're here on a Thursday. And 2 of those games have been on the road. Dallas has had 3 games in 12 days, but they haven't had the road schedule. And it really is the team that has to travel that hurts the most in a Thanksgiving Day, a short week like this.
That certainly is borne out on the score. Jim Zorn trying to get the offense clicking. McCutcheon, and a flag goes down as McCutcheon is hit at the 29-yard line. Too Tall Jones made the stop, number 72. Ed is coming out with a couple of 45 records, he told me yesterday. One is rhythm and blues, one soul. They say he's the B.B. King of the Dallas Cowboys.
I'll tell you one thing, he beats a tattoo on some of those offensive linemen. He's a part of a very intimidating kind of a physical rush. The Cowboys at one time, Dick, were not a physical team.
Holding 72 offense.
They were a team that really specialized in finesse kinds of plays, and they wanted to trick you, and they were very good at it. But Landry, I think, changed his thinking some, and he's gone now to players who are very physical, and they'll stand toe-to-toe with anybody in the league.
And Landry himself has been concentrating on coaching the defense this year. He feels that's the key at playoff time. Zorn, look at Martin after him, and Martin's got him. Is 250 pounds and running like a sprinter out of the blocks to get Zorn.
Pressure begins on the inside. Watch Harvey Martin, 79, a stunt. He's going to come all the way underneath both of his tackles, blows right by 51 John Yarno, and he just overhauls number 10 Jimmy Zorn and turns him upside down.
Zorn must have thought he came out of the bleachers in the end zone. Where did he come from?
Fired out of a cannon on the other side.
Was he ever? Seahawks having trouble buying a yard. That's McCutcheon into the secondary, 25-30. McCutcheon at the 40. He's all the way to the 45-yard line. They used to call him Lawrence of Los Angeles in his heyday with the Rams. 4 times over 1,000 yards rushing, and that was reminiscent of his great games in the Coliseum.
32 yards on that play. I'm sure that's Lawrence's biggest of the year. In fact, I'm sure it's the biggest he's had in several years. Never a great breakaway threat. Did not have the speed, but always the ability to read that hole and to get that quick acceleration. That's the best I've seen him run in years.
A nice man. Good to see that after he went to Denver, couldn't make it there, and then Seattle picked him up with their injury problems and contributing to the Seahawks. Has his family and friends up from Houston watching him today. First down from the 45. Zorn going long for McCollum. Almost intercepted. Aaron Mitchell, 34, and Benny Barnes, 31, had him well covered.
One of the weaknesses of the defense, of the flex defense, is the fact that both of your defensive tackles are in a 4-point position, and one of the tackles well off the ball. You see how slow they are at getting into the pass rush. Dutton finally getting in there, but not until the ball had been thrown. They gave Zorn way too much time. First down passing. If you can throw the ball well on first down against the Cowboys, you can really give them fits.
Well, that flex defense, we'll watch for that. You can tell the one tackle will be in that 4-point stance and off the line of scrimmage. The game develops something maybe you can help educate us as to how that flex works. You see the one man in the middle over the nose playing back off the line defensively. Zorn on 2nd and 10. Screens it to Jodak. Gets the block. 50. And he's to the 43 and a first down in Dallas territory. Randy White, with all that size and muscle, chased him down after a 12-yard play.
One of the secrets of the flex defense is the flow of the inside people. And Randy White shows you exactly what flow and speed can do. He's running with a running back there and pulling him down from behind. Randy White has to be the fastest, at least the fastest regular playing defensive lineman in the NFL. Watch him pick up ground right there. Well, you didn't see it. You did see it in the other shot.
Back to the live action on first down at the 43. Cowboys well in front, 23-0. Joe Dad a small hole to the 40-yard line. People forget, Merlin Olsen, that Randy White's first year after a #1 pick out of the University of Maryland, he played middle linebacker and then shifted into a more comfortable position on the line as he played it as an Outland Trophy winner in college.
Of course, the Cowboys visualizing him knocking everyone all over the field from that position. They have admitted since that time that that was a mistake. Had they let him come in and play in the defensive line where he was comfortable, he would have been productive very early and would have had a much more productive career in the Dallas area.
2nd and 7 from the Dallas 40. McCutcheon. Oh, does he get a hit from John Dutton? A #1 pick himself by Baltimore as an All-American from Nebraska. 78 Dutton.
Dutton learning how to play on the inside of that flex defense, and it is very complicated. Offensively and defensively, the most complicated system in football. See how he's off the ball? Very difficult to get to him and block him one-on-one. He can take the quick step. He gets position. And you see what he does with it right there. Meets McCutcheon in the hole, takes him over backwards. That's just about a perfect picture tackle.
Dutton is out. Passing situation. Larry Cole in 3rd and 4. Zorn a quickie. Complete to Larchin. And Steve Larchin has the first down at the Dallas 29. Tackle made by Steve Wilson at the left corner. His dad, most folks know, T.D. Tommy Wilson with the Los Angeles Rams back in the 50s. And Larchin himself, a great athlete. Larchin, for that catch, now has 48 for the year, the leading receiver for the Seahawks. They trail 23-0. Good drive by Zorn. Incomplete. Well covered was Larchin. And Zorn had to dump it.
I think Jimmy Zorn is going to tell Larchin, look, if you had that one in your hands, you were going to get killed. Sometimes quarterbacks do their receivers a great favor by throwing that one short. Very often you hang a receiver up and he gets creamed from the backside. He may fumble the ball, may yet, even worse, break a rib or be injured.
Efren Herrera. We'll be hearing from him a bit later on our telecast. You saw him on NFL 80, fine restaurant, El Jardín. Some of the NBC crew enjoying Mexican. The Cowboys enjoying this first half, 23-0 midpoint second quarter. Seattle trying to get on the board. 2nd and 10 from the Dallas 30. This is their deepest penetration of the game. Safety blitz. Zorn out of bounds. Will they rule it a catch? Knocked out of bounds, or they're going to mark it a completed pass at the 21. He was knocked out of bounds. Rabel, the receiver.
The ruling there, and the official is right on the sideline. If, in the opinion of the official, the receiver would have come down in bounds and is knocked out by the defender, they'll rule the ball complete at that spot. That's exactly what they've done here.
Randy Hughes, by the way, number 42, has been out the entire season. And the Cowboys so pleased that he's healthy. Activated last week, didn't play. Hughes from Oklahoma. Now Key Member, good size at 6'4" in that secondary. Jack Patera watches a 3rd and 2. Zorn intercepted. Mike Hegman at the 20-yard line.
hit has to go to Harvey Martin, number 79. Zorn saw him break to the inside and can outrun most defensive ends. But when Harvey turned back up, he knew he couldn't outrun him. He snapped that pass off and threw it right into the waiting arms of a defender.
Heckman's first interception of the year, only the second in his career.
Largent down there waiting for the ball. A mistake on his part. He needs to come back to that football. Heckman just sliding in front of him. He doesn't do his quarterback any favors when he waits for that one to arrive.
So Dallas stops Seattle. 7:15 left in the first half. That's Ron Springs out for about 4 yards. Second down and 6. Heckman, by the way, the man recalled 2 years ago in the Super Bowl. He and Thomas Henderson collaborated in the play against Terry Bradshaw. And Heckman came up with a football and ran it in for a score. Big thrill in his pro life.
A much quieter person than the man he replaced.
Everyone is quieter than the man that he replaced.
2nd and 6. Dorsett. Beautiful move, and he dives close to that first down. Keith Butler, the last man there to stop him, along with Keith Simpson for Seattle.
You talked about patience earlier. Watch the patience of Dorsett as he waits for that opening coming to the outside. He starts inside to set up the run, breaks out on his own, and finally sees a little room there, puts a fake right there on Simpson, and dives for the extra yardage, which he was able to gather up for a first down. Dallas would like to move on down. They really have had control of this game virtually in every phase of the game during the first half.
Ball at the 30, a first down. White guns it. Johnson. Incomplete. Boy, Johnson taking quite a lick and almost held on to the football. Will Lewis, 41, playing for the injured Terry Justin and Cornell Webster. There to make the play. He's from Millersville State of Pennsylvania. The mighty Marauders back there in Pennsylvania, and done quite a job as a free agent pick for Seattle.
We talk about quarterbacks not doing receivers any favor when they hang them up. I think Danny White kind of hung Butch up on that one, put it behind him, and in fighting to get that ball, he opened his whole body to the defenders, and they really gave him a rap.
Sure that Bryant will have highlights of that exciting Bears win over the Lions. Quite a comeback for Chicago. Overtime win. Dorsett cutting inside, tripped up by Bill Cook. Dorsett, even after the hit, made about 5 yards from the contact. It's marked at the 32 and will bring up 3rd and 8.
I could hear Jack Patera roaring all the way from the sideline.
Terry Beeson is the injured
He jumped right there. He just came down, twisted that leg. You see him grabbing the ankle, but it appears to be all right.
3rd and 8 for Dallas at the 32. Out of the shotgun. White has time. And caught from behind at the 27-yard line by Terry Dion. Good play by Dion, just as White had open running room ahead. So one of the few times in this first half, Dallas will have to relinquish the football.
Seattle Seahawks, not a team that blitzes you very often. They get the blitz here. Butler at the top actually kind of stopped on his way in and had Dion not come from behind and gotten a piece of White. He might have gotten away from the blitz and gotten that ball off, or at least run for some yardage.
Well, Lewis will take White's punt. He's standing at the 30. Lewis at the 34. And down at the 38-yard line. Kurt Peterson, again, making a big play. He is a rookie out of the University of Missouri. This Sunday. Randy Hughes, the 5th defensive back in on 2nd and 10. McCutcheon at the 43-yard line. Hit hard. Coming up from the secondary. Randy Hughes. That'll bring up 3rd down and 5. It appeared that McCutcheon was going to get a lot more, but Hughes, a solid open field tackle.
Randy White jumped to the inside. His speed actually took him out of the play, and he opened some room for McCutcheon. But a good defense covers its own territory. They cover for each other. They certainly did on that play.
3rd down. It's closer to 5.
there, tried to pick the ball up. He should have just laid on it. Too tall Jones, 72. He's in there before anybody has a chance. That's a gangbuster rush. Everybody in there. That ball is loose. Dion should have just laid on it instead of trying to pick it up. Lynch there as well. But of course the Cowboys came up with the football.
It was Louis Bullard, not Dion. 72. I don't want that big Terry Dion to get managed.
I wouldn't want him to. You're right about that.
32-yard line. Dallas with all the breaks, and they lead by plenty, 23-0. Dumps it out in the flat to Dorsett. Simpson can't bring him down, but Butler can. Joe Norman there as well. It was Joe Norman who made the hit. He's from Indiana. Second-round pick a year ago, recruited by the Hoosiers as a quarterback. That's about the most one-sided game we've seen this year, is it not?
I think it is. Harvey Martin getting a little attention for his ankle over there. They would not want to lose that big man. He leads them with sacks on the season, averaging about 13 sacks a year in his career. An amazing statistic. Very consistent. Had a year when he was hurt. Had knee problems and leg problems. And a lot of tackles around the league relished the fact that they did a good job on him. He's back. They can pay for that.
2nd and 4, Dorsett. Another weaving run. The artistic Dorsett is to the 14-yard line, and another Dallas first down. He's a thing of beauty.
Well, they say he likes to play in the cold weather. Seems to have a greater amount of energy. Seems to get his rhythm a little bit better. Watch the acceleration and the quick moves. I think that's as much a function of eyesight, of vision, as anything. The ability to see those holes and then to have the body control to take advantage of them.
Yeah, we talked about this being potentially Dorsett's. Yeah, they're working on another defensive lineman, Robert Hardy.
Except for the incident where he dropped a mirror on his toe, he's not hurt that often on the field. And again, I think a function of good body control and good body conditioning.
First down at the 14. Newhouse back against the green to the 3-yard line. Bruce Thornton and the rest of the reserves for Dallas have to figure they're going to get a lot of action in that second half.
Billy Joe Dupree just buried Dion in there. You see bodies flying everywhere. Some great blocking on the line of scrimmage for the Cowboys. They buried it all the way down to about the 3-yard line when they picked up the first down.
First and goal for the Cowboys at the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes left in a long preceding announcement. Now the Cowboys having no trouble locating the end zone. Lead 23-0. 2 minutes left in the half. First and goal. Newhouse, touchdown. Now the Cowboys are spreading the wealth. Newhouse joins Dupree, Tony Hill, and Ron Springs with touchdowns.
Not much in his way as he steps over there. Joe Norman, 52, arriving at the scene. That's like trying to knock down a bull. Newhouse gives him the shoulder, drags him into the end zone, picked up another 4 or 5 yards. You heard the signals being called by Danny White, calling the fake audible on the line of scrimmage. Septien back for the extra point.
And Septien nails it. So it's now 30-0, and Jack Patera in a position 8th round. Al Hunter and Will Lewis are back, and that's Lewis out to the 10, the 20, 23-yard line. So Seattle, with 1:52 seconds left, will have a chance to get on the board. There are the drives by Dallas. You say they've only had to put together one long drive. The second one, the 12-yard, 12 plays for a touchdown.
The Seahawks have been their own worst enemies today in the way they have turned the ball over, given themselves problems.
3 touchdowns were drives of 31 yards, 19 yards, and 32 yards for Dallas. So that made it, Seattle's made it tough on themselves. Trailing 30-0. Zorn under pressure. Down he goes at the 25. That will not be a sack. As Larry Cole and Randy White. White making another play. All pro. Mom calls him Hunk. And boy, he has been all of that this first half.
The big play last week by Larry Cole, number 63. Now we'll go back to the action. Zorn wants something here before the half.
No huddle at all, and he's in trouble. Gets it away to Jim Jodat. And it'll be, looks to be a first down out at the 33-34-yard line. Dennis Thurman making the tackle. And again, Zorn just calling the play with an audible. 113, 112. Danny White, he's had a very comfortable first half. White after Zorn again. He escapes the pressure. Now he's in trouble. Just does get it away, incomplete to Jodat. Stops the clock with 59 seconds left. You're talking about Larry Cole, Merlin.
Larry Cole, of course, grabbed a fumble caused by Randy White last week. Rambled almost a length to the field, and not very fast, I might add. I thought he needed a gas station down there about the 10-yard line. But they took him into the media luncheon here on Tuesday, and he said, well, after studying the game film, very difficult for me to be humble. He is a character.
You talk about the irony of this game. That's his 4th touchdown by a fumble interception, all 4 against the Redskins. Tom Landry called him our galloping ghost. Weaver slaps one off the side of his foot, very short to Jones, and he's tackled immediately at the 35-yard line by Don Dufek. One of the great names from Michigan football history, and it'll be Michigan and Washington in the Rose Bowl January 1.
Herman Weaver comes off shaking his head. He has not had a good day at all. 33 yards. Not kicked the ball with any altitude either. Kicking a line drive off the side of his foot on that last one.
Yeah, we hope your holiday has been a very pleasant one. And I suppose, except for the fans, the ardent fans and good fans up in the great Northwest there, Seattle club is down by a big hunk, 30-0. But it's the kind of team that has bounced back time and time again in its 5-year history. And that's where Jack Patera is so solid. He doesn't show the highs or the lows. He's a man of great strength, inner strength. Dorsett. And he's out to the 46-yard line. Will Lewis and John Harris in the secondary made the tackle for Seattle.
It's on a play like that Dorsett shows you the difference between an average running back and a great running back. Play designed to go to the left side. Dorsett cut it back, took it almost off the other tackle, actually finding his own room to run. And if you have enough speed and if you have the vision to spot those openings, you can make plays like that.
18 seconds, 17, 16 left in the first half. 30-0 Dallas. Dorsett again. And a flag goes down. That'll stop the clock with 9 seconds. Robert Hardy made the tackle. It was training camp yesterday, Merlin. And Bruce Thornton, the reserve tackle, said, you know, Herb is really so happy, and he would never say anything himself. I think it'd be really nice if you passed along that information. I like that camaraderie. The fact here's a fellow Cowboy thinking proudly, with pride, about his teammate. Talk about family, and the successful organizations are good football families. That's one of the few times the Cowboys have been stopped as Newhouse tripped over that 35-yard line. And that will be the end of the first half as the Cowboys got all of the best of the servings on this Thanksgiving first half. At the intermission, it's Dallas 30, the Seattle Seahawks.
And they come through to the end of the season at the same tempo that they started. I think it's easier for them to be ready for the playoffs, to have something left in that emotional gas tank than it is for a team like Philadelphia.
Interesting point. Septien takes it off to Seattle, and he's done a good job of delivering them deep all day. That's Will Lewis at the 2, to the 10. Oops. Reverses and comes back to the 14. And finally wrapped up by Dexter Clinksdale at about the 17-yard line. The official first half statistics should all be in Dallas's favor.
Stats for you to see at home. Very very one-sided, as you might expect, especially in the rushing area. 115 for Dallas, 93 yards passing, but obviously they didn't have to go far for those touchdowns. You see, too, the turnovers, 3 on the Seahawks side, very, very costly. Time of possession also favoring the Dallas Cowboys.
New quarterback is Sam Atkins, a veteran from Wichita State. Atkins, who threw his first touchdown pass against Denver on Sunday. He gives to Jim Jodat, and Jodat out to the 24-yard line. You just wonder if maybe Seattle just said, hey, let's go out and pretend this game is nothing, and let's just try to establish something. Forget the 30 points that Dallas has on its side. So Sam Atkins relieves Jim Zorn. And Atkins not starting in any better position on the field with his team than did Zorn in the first half. In the first half, Seattle had the ball 6 times, and the average position at the start of the drive was the 22-yard line. They begin this time from the 19. 2nd and 5. McCutcheon, a play-action pass, throws it in the dirt out at the 33-yard line, intended for John Sawyer, the tight end. Jim Zorn, who hitting 57%, but sacked much more this year than last, and he had only 6 touchdowns in the last 9 games, and so Zorn just given a rest here in the second half.
Dick, we'd like to pass along wishes for a speedy recovery to Dan Rooney, injured in an automobile accident, 2-car accident. We certainly hope he's going to make a very speedy recovery. Good friend, president of the Pittsburgh Steelers organization, and I'm sure all those in and out of the game of football would like to say get well soon.
Amen. Sunday 24. It's McCutcheon. Second effort by McCutcheon, but I believe he'll be short of the first down at the 28. I know, Merlin, on holidays you have, and I have 2 visited hospitals, and there's something about sports on television during the holiday period that for many folks at this time of the year, that is their communication with the outside. And we hope that in some way we brought a little extra to you on this Thanksgiving holiday, and we send wishes to all of those who might be watching today and in that position, a speedy recovery. The Dan Rooneys and all the rest of you. We send our love to you. Favorable spot for the Seahawks, and they have a first down at the 29. Good second effort by McCutcheon. Atkins to McCutcheon, and he's to the 31-yard line. Harvey Morton made the tackle.
The anchor stone of the defense is the middle linebacker. In this case, Bob Brunig, number 53. Only the 3rd of the fine chain of middle linebackers. You see him exploding up inside, taking the angle away from McCutcheon. John Yarno, the center, 51, just could not handle a rush of Brunig on that play. McCutcheon trying to cut behind him, but Brunig had the way shut off and tackled him cleanly.
Brunig from Arizona State. He's musically inclined as well. Plays the guitar and sings. 2nd and 8. Atkins in trouble. Screens it to McCutcheon. A good catch by McCutcheon and a good move. 35-40, and he was tripped up and had blockers downfield. So McCutcheon twice today has shown excellent open field moves.
A little Fran Tarkington out of Sam Atkins there. Watch the reverse roll. He's going to get tremendous pressure here. Now he'll reverse out of there, come back the other direction, flips it over the head of Larry Cole. Now watch McCutcheon here. Beautiful move outside to defeat Benny Barnes. Jumps over another tackler, gets downfield before he's finally knocked down.
And we see Harvey Martin, who injured a leg in the first half, walking with a slight limp off the field. Bruce Thornton has replaced him. First down at the Seattle 42. Just underway, second half. Cowboys well in front, 30-0. Atkins, incomplete to Largent and almost into the arms of Aaron Mitchell, the right corner of the Cowboys.
A timing pattern. Atkins throwing a little high, and Largent did a smart thing. Got up and tapped that football a little bit. If he hadn't done it, I think it might have been intercepted. Interesting point to make here, Dick. Some people at home watching this game would be asking if Jack Patera has benched Jim Zorn. I don't think that's the case at all. But a game that's out of hand like this, Patera needs to know about his backup people. He's also conscious of the importance of Zorn to his team. Doesn't want to get him hurt. And, of course, when you're this far behind, the defense really goes after a quarterback.
He's also made some changes in that line, Merlin. We'll focus on that. Quick hitter by Jodat. And he has a first down and more all the way to the 39 of the Cowboys. Charlie Waters finally rode him down. Jodat from Carthage of Wisconsin. One of the many athletes out of small colleges to play well in the NFL.
Jimmy Jodat, we saw him go over 100 yards against Washington in his first start ever. He started a number of games since then. Has not had that good a day since then, but certainly a fine gainer there. Got a feel. We got a little fire out there.
Jodat and his bride there. He was married this past summer. Airline stewardess he met on a football trip back to the Boston area. Atkins heads for cover. And he was helped that way by Larry Cole. Larry Cole, who formed the Zero Club back a few years ago with Pat Toomey and Blaine Nye, and their credo was, "Thou shalt not seek publicity."
Well, I
He really
understand.
hasn't.
I understand that Toomey isn't talking to him these days, though. After that touchdown, Toomey won't talk to him.
If he really went out and got some
he's
publicity.
got out. He's got the publicity now. Lording himself around.
Joe Palooka, they called him in college, and you can see that likeness. Joe Palooka, the Cowboys. Larry Cole.
2nd and 10. McCutcheon and Jodat, two ex-LA Rams behind Atkins. That's Jodat right into the arms of the linebacker Anthony Dickerson from SMU. Played in the Canadian League 2 years ago. Did not play football last year and signed with the Cowboys this season.
Too Tall Jones, really best known as a pass rusher, but obviously learning how to play the run as well. Excellent pursuit as he dove across inside. Ron Essing, number 64, put a helmet to his chest, but he was really closing it down from the outside.
Essing, a rookie from Grand Valley State, is playing with Jeff Seabian, new left side of the line for Seattle. As Bullard and Lynch given a rest here in the second half. 3rd and 11, and he took too much time. That's Al Hunter with the ball.
One of the other things that happens, and it's an interesting and I think rather unexplainable phenomenon, when you replace the #1 quarterback, put a #2 quarterback into the game, and just almost inevitably the defense lets down. I don't know why it is, Dick, but it's happened too many times in games that I've watched to believe that it's anything but a very real happening. It's happened here in this game. The Dallas defense obviously letting down a little bit when they saw Sam Atkins come into the game.
The official attendance in-house, 57,540, over almost 65,000 tickets sold, 7,300 no-shows. 3rd down, 16. And now Atkins calls time. So a 10-minute
on that sideline.
That's an excellent point. That's you know that this is the kind of team that if any can bounce back, they can. Atkins going long for Largent. Interference.
But we have a holding penalty, I'm afraid. I think they're going to cancel each other out. That's too bad. Largent doing a beautiful job. The secret to success in a long pattern like that is concentration. Sam Atkins gets time to deliver that football. Gregory coming in from the outside. Not Gregory, but Bruce Thornton. Pass thrown. Now watch the concentration here. Going back toward the football. Largent bumped several times in the process. They're going to call it. Whoop.
Now it's a personal foul also against Dallas, so the interference call will go.
Head slap. Well. Little layup on that one.
So it's 1st and goal, Seattle, just outside the Dallas 1-yard line. The Cowboys this year have not logged a shot. Jim Zorn now rooting for his backup, Sam Atkins. McCutcheon and Jodat behind Atkins. Jodat did not get in. Bruce Huther, 57. Bob Brunning, 53. Guy Brown, 59. All in on the tackle as Huther and Brown, two backup linebackers, seeing some duty.
You don't measure in yards down here. You measure in inches. And these are tough inches to get against a team like the Dallas Cowboys. 2, 4, 6, 7 of them in on that tackle.
So many stars on that tackle, you'd think it was midnight. 2nd and goal. Joe Dad squirming, fighting, cannot get into the end zone. You see Bruce Thornton playing official. No, he didn't.
Obviously 4-down territory. A field goal is not going to do them any good down there. That ball should be bumped up almost on the end line. About a yard to go. Let's see how far he gets up in there. Joe Dat, strong, low to the ground, but he goes head to head with Thornton right there.
They didn't allow that second effort, apparently, because he certainly had that ball right on the goal line.
He reached it right in there, didn't he?
So apparently the whistle had sounded when he was straightened at the 1-yard line. Where it is 3rd and goal, and Atkins has to call another timeout. Goal. Crowd coming to life for the defense. They want to shut up. Atkins. Wide open, but incomplete to Ron Essink, number 64. He was lined up as a tight end. Atkins was forced to hurry the ball away, although he had a man wide open.
How do you defeat a play-action pass? Well, you get there with tremendous pressure from the inside. Randy White just overwhelming people on the left side of that Seattle line. Ball had to be thrown quickly. Essink was open, but there was no time to throw it.
Well, that had been a throw for him. Here's an offensive lineman playing as a 3rd tight end, a chance to get a touchdown on national television. Now it's 4th and goal. Atkins couldn't get the ball off to his back, and Dallas is held.
See the bobble right there. Atkins couldn't find the handle on that football, could not hand it off, and he is swarmed under by that Cowboy defense.
30-0. The Cowboys led at the intermission, and they've just stopped Seattle 4 times from just outside the 1-yard line. Dorsett to the 4, and it's one of those parenthetical questions. What else can go wrong for the Seattle Seahawks?
The Seahawks have blown a couple of scoring opportunities in recent days from that close in, and that man right there, Jack Patera, very unhappy. Conversations about that particular series.
Dallas has started 8 times with a possession of the ball, average place 47-yard line. It's the first time they've really started deep in their own end, and that's Dorsett sprinting out to a 1st down at the 12-yard line. You surprised at all that Dorsett would be playing in a 30-0 game? Here's a very valuable property.
I am very surprised, and if he plays much longer, I'll be totally shocked. You don't want to lose to Tony Dorsett.
This Saturday, NBC Sunday. Robert Newhouse at the 10. 18-yard line, call it the 19. And Newhouse had an open field ahead. You were off filming? Okay, I can't even.
No, I can't talk about the. But the title of the show is The Hitman.
The Hitman.
And don't mess with me.
Nor Robert Newhouse, who has the 1st down at the 24-yard line. Robert Hardy and Bill Cook made the tackle, or Sam Atkins talking with his coaches upstairs.
Very often the quality of a back can be judged on what he does after he bumps into traffic, after they get a hand on him. You saw Newhouse demonstrating his running ability and the power in that stocky body. He pulls people with it. He's hard to get a hold of and hard to tackle.
Just look at the thighs on that man. He's only has a 31-inch waist, but he has to buy 36-inch hands to get his thighs in. Dorsett and Will Lewis, Jersey tackle on the sidelines, and that'll cost him 15 yards as he didn't let go. That's a rookie mistake.
Well, obviously frustration, but that's not the kind of thing that endears you to a coach. He knew he was out of bounds. The intelligent thing, let him go. Watch it yourself. Dorsett taking the ball, he does this on his own. He just figures he can outrun everybody to the outside. Lewis does a good job, gets a hold of him from behind, and right there, just let him go. There's no purpose in that. Flag to follow.
So it's a first down for the Cowboys out across their 46-yard line. We have 6 minutes and 18 seconds left in the third quarter. And it's been a Thanksgiving celebration for the fans of the Cowboys here in Texas Stadium today. Bob Big Newton from Nebraska, one of the blockers on the sidelines for Seattle. Newhouse and Dorsett behind Danny White. Whoa! And White got a real taste of 52, Joe Norman.
Danny said, wait a minute, I don't think Roger ever did it this way.
Roger certainly didn't want to do it that way. Second sack is what they'll call it.
He hooked his foot, I think, on the foot of one of his offensive linemen. Almost tossed that ball up to Dorsett. I think wisely decided just to eat it. I talked to Danny White about his adjustment to starting responsibility. He said it gets a little easier every week. But of course, he was well qualified to step in at quarterback. He paid his dues, had his apprenticeship.
White to throw, batted at the line of scrimmage. That's 2 by Bill Cook today. White played 2 years in the World Football League at Memphis before coming here, and this is his 5th season. So he's really had 6 years of pro football before becoming a full-time starter. Plus the fact, a great athlete. He was drafted by 4 Major League Baseball teams as an infielder. Very bright, and he comes from pretty good stock. His daddy, Byron Whizzer White, was an All-American at Arizona State in the 50s. Not the Supreme Court Justice, but another Whizzer White. So he had a lot of things going for him, and much like Staubach, wasn't the starter right off the bat. He was able to work into the Dallas system. Out of the shotgun. Going long down the middle. Norman intercepts for Seattle. The first turnover for the Seahawks. Joe Norman, his first interception as a pro.
If Danny White has a weakness, Dick, it is in the hanging of that football. He'll let it hang out there sometimes, and he has been intercepted very frequently in the past weeks. That's a dangerous thing. Look at that ball. Hangs it up there. Linebacker runs under it.
Pretty good drop by the linebacker.
A very happy Thanksgiving.
Look at that face. If you just tuned in and you knew the score well, see, now we tell you it's 30-0 Dallas, but if we just told you one team had 30 and one had 0, could you tell from Landry's expression who was leading? Well, he's just seen his team cough up the football on the interception. Sam Atkins gets another chance, but this time from back at his 27-yard line. Deflected and intercepted by Brunig. And Bob Brunig returns it to the 33-yard line. So Landry gets it right back. And while Danny White comes on the field, I want to correct myself. Wilfred is his father, not Byron.
Atkins firing this one just a little bit low right there. Looked like Bruce Thornton maybe up in front of that ball. And they were teasing Brunig about his hands in the locker room. They said he's got 2 sets of feet. Well, he did catch that one, I'll tell you. He's got something to talk about this week.
Boy, players are really brutal, aren't they? If you have any physical weakness at all, you just know it's going to be either your nickname or something they make fun of you for your entire career. Danny White to throw.
Intercepted. So 3 plays, 3 consecutive interceptions. And that was John Harris picking off his 4th of the year.
Well, I think that might bring another frown to the face of Tom Landry. One thing you can't afford
Soon after this play, we have our NBC Thanksgiving football quiz coming up. So I know you'll want to participate in that. We got some fun coming up. Atkins. With Jodad and McCutcheon behind him. To Largent, incomplete. All right, here's our visual 2nd down and 10. Jodad. And he's with a good charge out to the 24-yard line, close to a first down. Jodad, the leading rusher for the Seahawks, and this is first year as a starter. His days as a Ram confined to part-time duty and special teams. He was the captain for them, and he's getting up near the 500-yard mark with Seattle. That's a first down at the 24.
the specialization in the game of football goes beyond just the players themselves. You saw all those different kinds of shoes. Not uncommon for one player to maybe have 4 or 5, maybe even more than that, different kinds of shoes for different kinds of turf. Wet, dry, special kind for one artificial turf is special for another.
First down play for Atkins. Yes, Larson to the right, McCullum to the left, and he goes beyond the 30 seconds again. And it's a 5-yard delay of game.
Time I finished playing on it. Very frustrating. Well, it changes to it.
First down, 15. McCutcheon trying to pick a hole, and he finds one. Gets it out to the 30-yard line. Good job by McCutcheon.
I think the other reason I dislike the artificial turf, Dick, is because it is so hard. I mean, you really take a beating physically, and it burns. You see the elbow pads on McCutcheon as he walks away there. If you don't have elbows and knees properly padded, this turf will just burn you to shreds, and you come away with those horrible burns that don't heal for maybe a week or two.
They're like the old floor burns.
Exactly, exactly, and they'll eat you up. This turf especially, I think this is the worst turf for that.
Second down and 4. Jodette burrowing his way near the 35-yard line. That'll be close to a first down. Well, this Sunday, NFL 80, and here on NBC, a big doubleheader for you. Maybe we'll find that out. That's going to be a great assignment. Atkins, out of bounds, incomplete to Mark Bell from Colorado State. He and his brother Mike, twins. Mike, of course, a top player with the Kansas City Chiefs.
He was being covered by Randy Hughes, and interesting that the Cowboys lost so many of their starting secondary last year. In fact, lost the whole battle. All 4 of them gone. Reconstructing, doing a good job of it.
Saw that shot from the bench. You see why the bench may be the worst seat in the house. Second and 10. 3 minutes remaining in the third quarter. 30-0. It's been Dallas all the way. Sam Atkins incomplete to Jodat. Bruce Thornton really putting the heat on Atkins. There's the open roof
At the 35-yard line, 3rd and 10. Oh, you players never change, do you?
3 wide receivers in. Rabel is wide right. Larson left with McCullum slot right. And a flag down. Early movement appeared to be Seavey in the center of the line.
It was Jeff Seavey getting up a little quickly.
Well, Steve Meyer was injured in the preseason. And then Dave Craig made the club, the rookie out of Milton College of Wisconsin. Atkins is a half Indian. He's from the Algonquin Nation, the Chickahominy tribe. Boy, they still bust their buttons here, some of the fellows here in Texas. 3rd down and 15. Atkins running for his life, and too tall. Gets him at the 18. Thornton was there first.
You get a quick glimpse at why Tom Landry was so concerned and upset when big number 72 said, I'm going to be a boxer, not a football player. Well, he has returned to play the game of football in better condition than he left it. And he provides some added punch to this Dallas defense.
The 6th sack by Dallas today. Weaver with Jones back at midfield. Good kick. Jones at the 36-40. Hit hard at the 47-yard line.
Ouch.
And the ouch was created by Ron Essing, the offensive line. 30-0 late in the third quarter. Ball at the Cowboy 47.
And we still have Tony Dorsett in the game.
With Newhouse. That's Drew Pearson in motion. And White's going to throw. Complete to Tony Hill. Hill, who had a touchdown earlier in the game. He's from Long Beach Poly High School out in California, the same school. He followed Gene Washington, broke all of Washington's records in high school, then went to Stanford after Gene Washington, now an NBC announcer, and broke all of Gene's records up there.
You see that fine little move to the inside to freeze the defensive back, the break to the outside, ball delivered on target. Very difficult to break up a timing pattern like that.
Unless you have a penalty.
Unless you have a penalty.
And the Cowboys did.
Another note on Long Beach Poly High School, because they have another famed graduate, Billie Jean King, also attended that school. Well, the holding call makes it first down and 20, back at the 37-yard line. Question: can you believe there's still 2 minutes and 35 seconds left in the third quarter? I can't. Anyway, Green to Dorsett. 40. And he's back to about the start of this series at the 47-yard line. Bill Cook, chasing the play, made the tackle. Cook has done a good job. He's been in a lot of tackles today.
Sometimes in the game of football, you just have to sacrifice your body. Watch number 58, Terry Beeson. He reads the screen. He's coming up. He sees a wall of bodies. Now watch this. He's just going to throw himself over the top. Missed the tackle, but really had no choice. He took out a blocker in the process, forced a cut by the back, actually helped the tackle to be made by forcing the back inside.
And actually, he came to Seattle as part of the Tony Dorsett trade, actually the trade of the draft choice. They meet again. Here's Dorsett, 50, and bumped out of bounds by Will Lewis at the 45 of Seattle. That'll be short of the first down, bringing up 3rd and 2.
One of the things that I'm sure Tom Landry and his staff will do now in the second half of this game is to showcase some different looks, some different plays, perhaps some unusual formations. They know that people are going to be examining these films, and they'd like to make them do some extra homework, some extra practice work. If they're not complicated enough, I'm sure that man right there is saying, now, what can we show them to make them spend another half an hour on the practice field?
With its 30 points today, the Cowboys are now the top scoring team in the NFL. Of course, they have an extra game over New England. 3rd and 2. Fine play by Beeson, but Newhouse gets away, and Dave Brown, the quarterback, deep in the backfield of the Cowboys, makes the tackle. So Butler made the head and forced Newhouse deep and wide, and Dave Brown. That's any quarterback with a play.
That's the kind of play that Tony Dorsett can get away with, but Robert Newhouse just does not quite have the speed to do it. Brown, one of the original Seahawks, showing fine speed himself as he comes from behind. The tackle is square-built 44, Newhouse.
Now Danny White to punt. Will Lewis back at the Seattle 15. Here they come. But good blocking and a good kick. Lewis in trouble. Late fair catch at the 9-yard line. Just as Benny Barnes arrived. Barnes, the veteran, still does that as well as anyone. He's tough to knock down from his own 9-yard line. Play action to Jodak. Down the middle. Intercepted again by Hegman. His second of the game. Mike Hegman at the 27-yard line. Showed you that the Cowboys are the top scoring team in football. They're also the top team in taking the ball away.
Oh, you get a feeling right there for what it must feel like for Sam Atkins. He was throwing out of a silo. Arms up in front of his face. Hegman getting a good drop there, reading the ball well. But the ball very poorly thrown. A pass that Atkins would like to pull the string on, and
Yanks left in the third quarter, trying to add to their 30-0 lead. There's been no scoring in the second half. Dorsett and Newhouse split behind White. Here's Dorsett looking for a 100-yard day. And it takes half the Seattle team to stop him at the 20-yard line. And one of those awkward twisting moves, you just get fearful that he may be injured.
you want to play a little defensive halfback? Come on in, put on your helmet. You get a feeling for what it's like to try and keep up with Tony Dorsett. Dorsett finally crowded in and taken down, but gets himself about 6.5 yards in the process.
Dorsett now has his own company here in the Dallas area. He sells burglar and fire alarm systems. Well, he is an alarm when he has that football. 11 men start thinking 33.
He'll steal some yardage off of you, too.
2nd and 4. There you go. Got it. Out of bounds at the 15-yard line, and that'll be the final play of the third quarter. The Cowboys, Dallas 30, Seattle nothing.
Touch on the outside. Just He's out of there ahead of everybody.
And we'll be right back after these.
Texas Stadium. Bob Trumpy, Mike Adamley also with us here in Big D area.
Brian Gemmel back in New York. It's 30-0. Dallas leading. First play of this fourth period. And it's a first down from the 15 of Seattle. Dorsett. Is he slammed into at the 14-yard line. Dorsett looking for a 100-yard day. That should leave him shy by about a yard. Terry Beeson, 240 pounds of linebacker from Kansas, made the tackle.
Came up eyeing that sideline marker. Wanted to see how much yardage. Wanted to see if it was worth that hit he took.
You know, Merlin, if you look at the statistics through 3 quarters, and obviously dominated by Dallas, the Philadelphia Eagles have taken a lot of criticism, if you will, because they've beaten only one team with a winning record until last week. Well, Dallas has beaten only one team with a winning record, the San Diego Chargers. Newhouse to the 9-yard line. Will be 3rd and 4. And you wonder if they have been truly tested. Seattle has played 8 teams with winning records.
Well, of course, the comeback to that is that there simply is no way that you get to choose your schedule. You're given a schedule. You play the best you can against your competition. And certainly, really, it's all meaningless once we get into the playoffs. We go into one-game seasons then. And whichever teams arrive and are lucky enough to arrive in the playoffs, then it all starts over. And I'm sure Tom Landry's greatest concern is keeping his people healthy and getting them in the right frame of mind to get into those playoffs. Even though they haven't been tested, I still have a feeling that they're going to be one of the prime candidates for a spot in the Super Bowl.
3rd and 4 to Hill, and that'll be interference against the rookie cornerback Will Lewis. And remember, this is the 3rd string cornerback. He's playing because Justin and Webster in front of him are injured.
The quarterback, of course, is responsible for getting that ball right on target. Danny White knows that if he can put that ball over the top, he's looking over to the side. Kind of tipped that one off a little bit, didn't he? Oh, yeah, there you go. He's calling the up right there, right on the spot. And just flips him out, throws the ball over the top. Yeah, I think maybe I knew that one was coming, but you still have to cover it. That's the problem. You still have to cover it. Will Lewis did his best, earned himself a penalty in the process.
Now it's 1st and goal for the Cowboys at the 1, and despite the fact they're leading 30-0, they haven't exactly been sitting on the lead. They've put the ball in the air. And Dorsett adds his name to the touchdown list. That's the 5th Cowboy to score today.
Dorsett really slamming into the line, coming in at an angle. Not the best way to make that short yardage. You want to slide yourself shoulder square to the line. But I'm not going to tell Corey Dorsett how to run. He does too good a job on his own.
And with that 1-yard touchdown run, he has an even 100 for the day. Job well done by Tony Dorsett. Here's the Cowboys, JR, trying the extra point. Jose Rafael Septien, and it's good. In fact, he named his new macaw. Bought that for his wife as an anniversary present. JR. Jose Rafael, and he's angry. But you'll be back joining us soon. Fumble by Will Lewis. And he's down at the 14-yard line.
And we got a clip, I think, too.
Bill Rowe, a rookie, made the tackle, and Dorsett, by the way, with that 100-yard game, there's a penalty against Seattle, now has his 18th 100-yard game as a Cowboy. That's a Dallas record, breaking Calvin Hill's mark.
I tell you what, now that they've put that lead in those handkerchiefs, they can throw about 50 yards. We may have to have a contest.
Len Carano warming up.
See how far those officials can throw those flags.
Len Carano, University of Nevada, Las Vegas, tuning up.
Obviously, Landry concerned about his number 2 man. Wants to get the dust off of him, get him loosened up a bit.
Jim Zorn back in at quarterback for Seattle. 37-0. same time. You almost put the ball in that shoe.
Looking down at the Seahawks bench, as you watch the fumble by McCutcheon, players giving Jack Patera a very wide berth down there. You can draw about a 5-yard circle around Patera. Nobody standing in the territory. John Dutton obviously happy to contribute a little bit to a very one-sided effort.
Glenn Corrado. In his 4th year, he beat out Steve DeBerg in '77. DeBerg, now the 49er quarterback, gives to Dorsett. Hey, he's learned his lesson well. He knows where to hand it off. Dorsett has 6 more yards. Beeson and Simpson made the tackle. 1 pass.
I'm sure that
this year.
I'm sure, Dick, that there are fans who are saying, why are they running that score up? But one of the tiebreakers that's used in the NFL is number of points scored. And it no longer is considered unfashionable or uncomplimentary or grinding it in or rubbing your nose in it to put the points on the board, since that is a legitimate thing to get in your pocket before the playoffs.
Oops, a little trouble there. Carano has to keep it himself, and down he goes at the 5-yard line. Keith Butler from Memphis State made the tackle. Didn't quite get the ball to his running back.
Just sitting here flipping back through the mental file at some of the games I played in that had long scores. We had a 0 on our side. I remember one of my rookie year, Bears beat us by about 50 points. And I had about a minute and a half to go in the game, and I was the only rookie on the field, and I called timeout.
Trailing by over 50.
Yes. And the veterans wanted to know who called timeout. I was trying to sneak it into the huddle.
That's one of the things you learn. Let something bad in. Ron Springs, not quite in. He has a first down, I believe, at the 1-yard line. Springs, he was the intended receiver on that now play of notoriety when Woody Hayes was involved in the sideline incident against Clemson in the bowl game a couple years ago.
Springs doing a good job of finding the hole. But John Harris reacting quickly from the secondary. Got a good wrap on him. Kept him out of the end zone. I believe they're going to be awfully close to a first down. Getting 4 shots at it.
Timeout. Timeout here in Dallas with some of the fans. First and goal. See, tonight on NBC, isn't this evening Sound of Music is on, and I know many of you have seen it, but that's the kind of motion picture entertainment you can sit down with the family and enjoy time and time again. So stay with us right here on NBC for Sound of Music. First and goal. Dallas leading 37-0. 12 minutes left. Springs.
Ooh.
Didn't make it.
Did not make it.
And to the credit of the Seahawks, they're battling Dallas despite that large deficit.
Watching the tight end Jay Saul, the 87, who will go in motion out of that. We really have seen a transition for the tight ends. We can talk about that when we get some open plays here, Dick, but one of their jobs now is almost to act like a pulling guard, moving in motion back and forth, coming back into the inside as a trap blocker on that play. Saldi doing a good job in this short yardage offense for the Dallas Cowboys.
Timmy Newsome and Dorsett are now the running backs. Newsome, a rookie from Winston-Salem State. That's Dorsett. And he has his 10th touchdown of the year. And a flag. In fact, there's 4 of them dotting the end zone.
I guess it had to happen. A lot of frustration. Saldi and Keith Simpson. A little pushing match after the fact. I don't know if we'll get to see it. Was off to the left side of it. There it is right there. Whap, whap.
That's a pretty good double shiver right into the face mask thrown by Saldi.
Now, there was a push by Simpson before Saldi retaliated, so.
Right. And it may be, here's Simpson. He was to the sidelines. Now he has to come back in as.
Well, he was not thrown out. Both players given a penalty, but neither thrown out of the game.
So another one of the short scoring drives. Dallas has had a handful of them today. 11 yards, 5 plays after the fumble recovery. We can still hear those pads pop. Dallas 44, Seattle nothing. So Jose Rafael Septien to Will Lewis. 15-20. Fumble. And Dallas has it again. Septien. Oh my, is to the 15. Would that have been something if Septien would have gotten a touchdown? Fans love it.
Football, you see the ball swinging loose, and in the vernacular of the language, carrying it like a loaf of bread won't get it. The ball bounces away. Septien right there on the play picks it up. Good play by Joe Norman, 52, to bounce him out of bounds.
So Rafael Septien has almost a touchdown. You see Ben Agajanian, Bootin' Ben. He's the kicking coach here of the Cowboys, and he's as happy. That's one of his boys, Septien.
Actually coached both these kickers.
Well, another short drive looking at Dallas. James Jones stopped cold at the 13-yard line. He's from Mississippi State, a third-round pick.
Well, she hasn't done anything wrong today, has she? You're not going to find any argument from me.
The remaining regular ski season for Dallas. They have to go to Oakland and Los Angeles and Philadelphia Dome. So 3 top-notch teams, and something that LA-Dallas game might be a forerunner to a wild card game. Rams also in second place with a good record. Jones again. Robert Hardy from behind at the 13-yard line. Hardy from Jackson State, where Jeff Moore was a teammate. Moore running back on the Seattle Club. The short drives have really been the story for Dallas, with the exception of their very first. They've all been short. 3 plays, 12 plays. Actually, in terms of yards, they've gone 31 yards, 19 yards, 32 yards, and then a couple inside the 15, and they started inside the 15 again.
And of course, the secret there, the turnovers. And they really have set the stage for Dallas touchdown.
Carano to Dupree, touchdown! Carano's first in the NFL. Well, the Cowboys run it up, but for this young man, Glenn Carano, a pass he'll never forget.
Right there where you have to throw it. Well into the chest, right between the numbers. Norman dropping back, reading the play well, but Dupree just throws him with that little move and got back to the inside and just throws that 6'7" body into the end zone.
So a half 100 for Dallas. Septien, who recovered the fumble, makes it 51.
Have we seen a single field goal attempt today, Dick?
We have not.
Interesting game that way.
Dallas scored 59 earlier this year. They're way ahead again today. The score of 51-0 has chased us to the Dallas Cowboy record book, and the Cowboys about to erase some past scores. Septien again. He's had plenty of practice. And down he goes at the 18-yard line. Septien was in on the tackle. He's really fired up. But it was Dexter Clinkscale, a free agent from South Carolina State.
We've got a penalty, Dick. Larry Brinson, who played some football down here himself, locked up on that play and used his hands a little bit illegally. They're going to tag him for an illegal use of hands penalty.
The largest margin of victory ever for Dallas was 49 points when they beat the Eagles in 1966.
Number 56 on the return.
Penalty against Tim Walker. They beat the Eagles 56-7 back in 1966. So if the score stays as it is, it will be the biggest margin of victory in Dallas history. Their biggest shutout win was 38-0 over Baltimore 2 years ago. Hello. I'm Ed Too Tall Jones. I just wanted to meet you fellas.
The official tossed him as hanky, and Ed tossed it back. Said, I don't want it.
I asked him yesterday, why did you become a boxer and what did you learn from the experience? He said, I learned I don't want to be a boxer anymore. And he said, and I needed to find that out for myself.
I asked a question in the locker room with some of the other players. I said, there you see him tossing the hanky back. I said, was he different when he came back? They said, obviously he came back with greater concentration, but the other thing he did, all that work with his hands. He now has great use of those hands, and certainly very important in the pass rush.
Anyone who's ever watched a boxer train knows how it prepares. That's the tight end Sawyer, and he gets out only to the 18-yard line. Charlie Waters made the hit. Waters, buddy Willie Nelson has to be happy with the results today. Great country and western singer. Waters and Nelson, it goes all the way back. Willie Nelson, I think, was a friend of Don Meredith, and back when he was just playing small clubs and very few knew him. And now, of course, one of the big heroes in the growing love for CNW. Sunday, we've got some dandies. We hope you'll join us for an NBC football doubleheader. Hunter trying the center of the line, gets it out to the 20-yard line, but that's all. John Dutton getting his 265 pounds in the way. Jim Zorn, who played the first half, sat out the third quarter and playing things out here in the fourth period with his team down 51-0. As we go back, in case you joined us late, the Bears in overtime beat the Lions coming from 14 points down in the fourth quarter. They were trailing 17-3, tied it on the last play of the game with Vince Evans running it in, and then one on a kickoff return by Dave Williams to start the overtime. Incomplete. Lawrence McCutcheon. Bruce Leather on the coverage. He's from New Hampshire.
Very talented linebacker. Tom Landry getting some of his backup people into the game now. I'll tell you, it's hard to hold them down, too. They sit on the bench, they wait for their chance to play. You put them into the lineup, and you almost get a little embarrassed when you look up at the scoreboard, but their frustrations have to show, too. They want to get in and do well.
To the left is Largent. McCullum to the right.
Third of the day, he saw nothing but open green fields between himself and that goal line. Zorn very fortunate here. Back quickly and fires it out. Watch Hegman cut across, timing it beautifully. And had he been able to keep his hands on that football, he just turns it up the field and walks in.
Yeah. Some of the bruises. That's where the good old helmet. Good old helmet. You know, that was a pretty good collision.
Good thing you don't have to have those scratches on your head, I'll tell you.
3rd and 10.
Offside.
That Thornton was offside. Zorn over the middle. McCullum open. A good catch. That ball low and behind him, and he's out to the 37-yard line. Hit by Benny Barnes. That was McCullum's first catch today.
Even with the rule change, the hands allowed for the offensive lineman, this is a dream world for the defensive lineman. They don't have to worry about the run. They just tee off and go. Very difficult for an offensive lineman to keep the rushers off of his quarterback when it's as one-sided a ball game as we have here.
Well, to credit George Finkel, our producer, Ken Foss, our director, and you talk about a happy man on Thanksgiving. George Finkel, our producer, his daughter was in a very serious automobile accident, was in a coma for several days, but she's all right now. She's talking, alert, watching the telecast. Hey, we're so happy for the Finkel family that
Her daughter's going to be okay.
1st and 10. Zorn with that reverse spin. Throws to McCullum. Short yardage play. McCullum, who's having his best year in the pros. He's out of Montana State, drafted by the Vikings in '74, and that is his 47th catch and surpasses his best total of 46 last year.
And McCullum enlarged two fine receivers, but Zorn has not had the opportunity to use them very much today.
7 minutes left. Oh, almost intercepted. A flag is down, thrown in the secondary. That was Clinkscale. I do like that name, Dexter Clinkscale. Free agent out of South Carolina State. That was Deacon Jones' school. The illegal procedure against Dallas. Too many men on the field. Hey, it's tough enough. 51-0, and now the Cowboys got 12 men out there defending.
Now we know what they're doing.
Illegal procedure, 12 men on the field, defense.
I think that's pouring it on.
Let's take a look at Dexter.
Good-looking guy. He was very nice yesterday, helping me with some directions. Didn't get me lost either, so he knows his way around, Big D. 2nd down, call it 4. Al Hunter, former Notre Dame star, and he gets very little. Shut off by Larry Bethea from Michigan State, the #1 pick of the Cowboys 2 years ago, and there are a lot of drawn faces on that Seattle sidelines.
How difficult to. At 30-0, you still entertain some hope. 51-0 with 6:37 in the game.
Well, the old bromide, though, Merlin, is, well, if you're going to really get your butt kicked, you might as well lose 100-0.
That's right. It goes in the loss column, whether it's by 1 or 100. It's the kind of film that I don't even think
They'll burn it.
Oh, they'll burn this one. And they have a few days off, too.
They've got 11 days now to get themselves back in order.
We talked about Dexter Clinkscale earlier. Let's see if his football professional play here is as good as his directions, Dick.
And he's getting a chance.
Up on the line of scrimmage, he's getting a chance to handle a one-on-one block from Lawrence McCutcheon. Jumps well, he got there. Yes, he got a piece of the tackle. Everybody should have a piece of the tackle if you're playing good defense.
Little jump ball afterwards. With a name like Dexter Clinkscale, he's got to have a nickname. He looks like he's on the slopes, doesn't he?
Jim Zorn trying to avoid the shutout. That's the only drama left in this one with 5.5 minutes remaining. Can Dallas hang on to a big shutout win, or can Seattle duck the Schneider?
We talked about the fact, Dick, that you don't spend much time looking at a film when you've not done, well, you haven't done anything right, I guess, if you're Seattle today. Although, even in a film like this, and it's an interesting point to make, you're never as bad or as good as that score would indicate. Some days, in fact, in this game, if you wanted to be critical, you'll find a lot of Cowboy mistakes. Not obvious on the surface, however.
I imagine Tom won't show, Landry won't show much of the films to his players either, because there's really no purpose. Lawrence McCutcheon, he's had some fine runs today for Seattle, and that one for a first down at the 36-yard line. And McCutcheon has done well.
He certainly has. He's running with some of the same verve and enthusiasm that marked his career in Los Angeles.
So Zorn without a huddle. He's in trouble. Just does get it away. Too tall Jones smacking him down. 6'9" and 260. And very light afoot.
See the gloves? Has he got gloves on? No, just taped. But he's taped those hands to, well, they're almost the hands of a boxer. Well, wait a minute. They are the hands of a boxer.
Lawrence McCutcheon, 7 carries and 74 yards. And that one real long gain in the first half. 2nd and 10. Zorn happy that everything's still in place after that blindside hit. Largent was open, the ball thrown behind him, but Zorn was about to be decked by number 51, Anthony Dickerson.
Well, as I said earlier, when when the score is as one-sided as this, you tee off. You don't worry about the run. It's the toughest position to put a quarterback and an offensive line in. And Zorn, as a result, is throwing some bad passes. That pass under pressure, nowhere near Steve Largent, who had found himself a little open spot in the defense.
Have the first down. Benny Barnes on the coverage. Dallas, look at the Seahawks. They're hustling up there without a huddle. Clock running, 4:48, 4:47.
Well, they would very definitely like to get that zero off the board. Zorn's going to do everything he can to get that to happen here.
On the Dallas 20. Zorn to McCutcheon, incomplete. Coverage by Clinkscale. Thanks to our spotters today, Doug Adams and John Nelson. Good job with the player identification. Joe Costanza, statistician. Hope you'll be with us on Sunday, NBC Sports, with that doubleheader. And of course, we'll be following it down the line through the playoffs and the Super Bowl from New Orleans in January. And when you watch the Cowboys of today, you have to think seriously about their chances.
Although I would say one thing, Dick, winning by this one-sided a margin, this big a score, not necessarily a good thing for Dallas at this point either.
They give it to McCutcheon. Dragged down by Clinkscale after a gain of 5. At the 15-yard line, it'll be 3rd down and 5 for the Seahawks.
My reason for saying that it's not necessarily the best thing for the Cowboys, you want to go into the playoffs a little bit hungry. You don't want to go off being smug, self-satisfied, and I don't think Landry will allow his Cowboys to do that, but it's sometimes easy to do when you win by a big score like this.
McCutcheon has a first down, and he's at the 5. 1st and goal for Seattle. For those of you who were not with us earlier, when it was 30-0 in the 3rd quarter, Seattle had it 1st and goal at the 1, and on 4 tries could not score. But now they're working against a less experienced Seattle defense, although here come 3 starters in. Hagman, Dutton, Brune comes in.
That's the goal line defense.
Hughes is in.
That's the goal line defense. Pachero.
McCutcheon has had his biggest day in a couple of years. 89 yards for Lawrence. Brown wants a shutout. McCutcheon gets to about the 2. Bruce Thornton and others make the tackle. Well, McCutcheon certainly has earned the score if there's any honor in breaking a 51-0 shutout. Large family, I believe about 12. South Texas. Pick cotton. He's just a youngster, 12 hours a day. And has earned his way to his fame as a pro football player. Play action. Touchdown. Ron Essing. Now how about that? Seattle finally scores, and the most unlikely candidate to get the touchdown for the Seahawks is a rookie from Grand Valley State, Ron Essing.
That's the same play that backfired on a 3rd down situation earlier. Essing bumped a couple of times there by D.D. Lewis. I'm surprised we didn't see a yellow flag, but who cares? You get your 7 points anyway. And even in defeat, there's something nice about getting that 7-pointer, that 6-pointer. And like I say, erasing that 0 from the board.
And Efren Herrera, who's been kept out of the game because of Dallas's field position, gets an extra point. So 2 minutes and 37 seconds remain. It's now 51-7 Dallas. Now let's to be in that, what is it on games people play, that fast talking competition? I mean, he gets more in.
Well, you got a lot of information in there for our fans. That's good that we can update folks on action elsewhere today. The team in the NFL at executing that onside kick, but very sure pickup that time by the Dallas Cowboys, who once again have that, what is it, ugly
2.5 minutes left. Glenn Carano running the club for Dallas. Has his first pro touchdown pass in this 4th quarter. Working with a couple of rookies Newsom and Jones. That's the rookie tandem that did so well against San Diego at midseason. Jones knocked off his feet at the 42-yard line by Keith Butler. And with the clock running, that'll take it down, unless there's a timeout, to the 2-minute warning. Dick Nolan was fired earlier this week. The Saints letting their head coach go. Did you have any reaction to that?
Well, a game very much like this triggered that action by John Meekum. I just think it's sad, Dick, that Dick Nolan will be the man blamed for all the problems in New Orleans. And certainly a man who's had a fine career in football, has coached some successful teams, and yet he'll almost be the scapegoat for all those troubles.
I guess that goes with the territory when you're the head man. 2 minutes left here at Texas Stadium. The Dallas Cowboys have lost their shutout, but they have another big victory, 51-7, and own the football at the Seattle 43. Glenn Corrado with rookies Newsom and Jones in the backfield. This is Newsom. Bill Cook slowed him up, but Newsom powers his way down to the 37-yard line. Executive producer of NBC Sports is Don Ohlmeyer. Coordinating producer of NBC's NFL Football is Ted Nathanson. The telecast of today's game has been produced by George Finkel. It's been directed by Ken Fouts. Our technical director, Emmy Award-winning Boris Ruiz. Associate producers Michael Hadley and Bill Peters. Our associate director, John Filippelli. To be here today to bring you this telecast, and they all send you the very best. It's been a meaningful holiday for you. 3rd and inches. Newsom. All the way to the 15-yard line. John Harris saved the touchdown. So with less than a minute remaining, Dallas leading 51-7 in the longest run of his young career.
Everyone crowded up tight, trying to get